We're here!
Oh man, who's ready to do it a little bit?
Let's go!
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Doot, and this right here is a Roland Aerophone. It is an electronic saxophone that I have programmed to work as a game controller, where every note that I play on the instrument corresponds to a button press on the gamepad. Like that. There is a little mod wheel slash pitch bend wheel on the back of the instrument under the thumb rest. My community lovingly calls it the nubbin. And it has actually been programmed to work as my left stick, so it's the only thing that I will be using that is not air controlled to move my character around in the game. Everything else in the game, including the camera, is controlled one Doot at a time. And I am going to be doing an Elden Ring boss showcase, a Elden Ring hitless boss showcase, hopefully. And because all of the bosses that we're going to be doing tonight are from the world's first alt controller no-hit run of Elden Ring that I completed last year. Including some all Great Runes bosses like Rykard, and I will be finishing this run with Melania hitless on a saxophone. So I will hopefully that'll all go well.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And between each boss, I will be quitting out to the title screen to load save states just to speed it up a little bit. Y'all know a little bit about Elden Ring. It can take a little while to get between the bosses, right? So we're going to start off with Rykard. Actually, all of the bosses that we're doing are from my practice of doing the no-hit run, so they're all sort of in context. We're going to be doing Rykard, Radon, Fire Giant, Malekith, Gideon Ofnir, Horalu, Radabeast, and then Melania. That's the plan.
All right, and hello there, everybody. My name is Thormungandr. I am an alt controller runner who also loves doing alternative quirky controllers with a wide variety of games. Happy to be on Dr. Doot's couch this year, coming back after last year's GDQ with the Mario 64 drum run. And yeah, I'm happy to be here for Dr. Doot's GDQ debut. But we're also joined by the wonderful...
I am PT. A lot of you know me as Pleasantly Twisted. I've been switching over to PT mostly. I play on normal controllers because I am not talented. However, I do a lot of Soulsborne challenge runs. I did a Bloodborne hitless showcase for our formerly known as Unapologetically Black and Fast 2023. So I am very much familiar with Dr. Doot and his hitless endeavors along with a lot of the Team Hitless homies. Shout outs to Team Hitless while we're here for a second, but I don't want to belabor it too much. I did want to give you one thing though real fast, Dude. I want to raise the stakes a second. Is that okay?
Yeah.
For every boss you get hitless, I'll donate $10. If you do the full spread, I'll do $100.
Okay, all right, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, shall we start?
Let's get into it.
Full spread, let's do it. So one of the really cool things about doing runs with alternative controllers is just how restrictive it can be. Now, Dr. Doot mentioned previously that when they use their Aerophone, they can only do one button press at a time, and they have to be blowing through the Aerophone while they do it. This means that a lot of actions are very restrictive, and that there's no way to really correct. You have to make sure that every hit is pronounced and intentional. And this is one of those instances where there's going to be a lot of tech that has been practiced over hundreds and hundreds of hours. But PT, have you ever thought about doing any alternative control runs?
I'm not smart enough for that. I'm just too busy trying really hard not to laugh at dooting noises as Rykard just falls over, because I don't know if people caught how much damage was being done there, but we are still going to be using a lot of the strats and stuff that a lot of hitless runners do use. Just now we have the challenge of I have to do it all on a controller. So imagine if you can, how hard it is to do this when it doesn't tell you to use the right sword and you have all this extra. And he's just like, that's so cool. So anyway, hitless Rykard, get into it.
That's the first boss under a minute dead. Let's give it up for Dr. Doot. Doot it. So one of the things I absolutely love, and you'll hear these wonderful sound effects going off here, but if you really want to see some absolute fun and chaoticness, take a look at Dr. Doot off of the GDQ mainline and take a look at their channel, because they actually go and replace the sounds with games like Parappa sounds or Dark Souls sounds while they're playing. So those Doots you hear now might actually be something like Parappa sound fonts and different things like that.
Kick, punch.
kick, punch, it's all in the mind. Yep, exactly. But our next boss that we're going to be going up against is Radahn main game. This one is quite the fun one, especially if you've never done the boss before. But Dr. Doot's going to take this one down relatively quick. Right now, they are activating a buff. And I believe they're trying to get their health as low as they can so they can go in with extra damage right off the bat.
Yep.
This will speed things along very nicely.
And while we're getting ready for Radahn to show up, I don't think there's a lot to talk about in terms of dodging the first stuff. Can we sneak in maybe 1 or 2 donations?
I have a $250 donation here from Paper Colican. This is going to be so hard to not laugh. It says, Guten Tag, Doc. It's so darn cool to see you bringing your talents to such a big event. Dude, you've grown so much in such a short amount of time, and it's been a joy seeing it since the beginning. Good luck on the run. Doot! Thank you for that $250 donation. Another $250 here from Tyler that said, always a joy to watch ZFG randomizer runs and speed runs. I was planning on donating for every dude, and I'm stupid during the run. But I figured I should save my bank account and just donate $250 instead. Good luck on the rando. Here's hoping we get to see Boat Skip. That will be the upcoming Zooter run. We have a glitch exhibition incentive that is currently open that needs $350,000. Please help us get there. We're at $16,000 right now. We have a little bit of time, but we're only going to get it if we go together. And if we reach 2 million total raised, how do I not laugh? If we reach 2 million total raised, we're going to unlock the Echoes of Wisdom run. Please help us get there. Please take commentary.
By the way, for everyone who missed it in those donations, that is Radahn hitless down.
And also an extra $20 so far from PT. We love to see it.
Yes.
PT, I'll match you.
Get into it.
There we go. We got
Who's trying to match me?
$40. Oof. Now, one of the really insane things about doing any alternative controller run is what you learn about setting something like this up. You realize that not anyone has done what you're doing, and usually you have to create your own strategies, find where you can run past things. Especially when doing Souls games, you find out that you're essentially writing the guidebook on how to play. In this case, Dr. Doot has chosen a controller that nobody's really ever done this on, which is an electric aerophone, and it has over 70 notes that can be played through the electric aerophone compared to the grand piano, which generally has 88 keys on it to give you an idea of just how many actions are available through the aerophone. But one of the big things is you don't realize a lot of the restrictions that you may have when playing a game with an alternative controller. Sometimes you may lose out on a camera. Sometimes you may end up having less reaction time due to the fact that you're going to have a lot more travel distance between how far your hands have to travel. So you end up having to create a whole new set of rules and essentially creating a brand new way to play in the process. There have been many amazing alternative controller runners in the community with names like Nico Hart, iFlipsy, and also Rudism in the community who have done so much, just to name a few.
So I think we're getting ready to go into everyone's most hated boss.
Let's see how this goes again.
I believe in you.
Wow, Fire Giant, so flatulent. Oh my God. He's just, his mom told him to wait there, so he's listening to her.
I've decided here on, anytime I punch someone, I'm gonna make a dooting noise, because that looked actually kind of gas.
I'm not gonna lie, if somebody did that to me, I would be afraid. I would be very afraid. That just exudes confidence.
You have to fake it till you make it.
One of my favorite parts about this fight is just how quickly you break the leg on this.
I'm trying really hard, I'm so sorry. Oh
no. So as you can see, this gets hilarious, whether it's the sounds or Dr. Doot's composure, staying calm throughout all this. It's an amazing sight to witness. Boss is getting chunked with Doot sounds in the background.
Oh my God, that's Fire Giant hitless. Get Dooted on entirely. We're 3 for 3.
And that is 3 bosses down, hitless, $60, PT, and wonderful host. And now would be a great time for some donations.
Yeah,
Correct.
Absolutely. Here is a $1,000 donation from Carisi that said Saxophone. $250 from Mershawn that said donating in remembrance of both my grandmothers that passed late this year. One was a 3-time cancer survivor. May this donation help others like early detection helped her. Thank you for that. We have raised $1.747 million and counting for the cause that is Prevent Cancer Foundation. We're going to watch that number keep going up. Once we reach $2 million, you have unlocked the final bonus game of the marathon. That is Legend of Zelda's Echoes of Wisdom. Imagine if I could find my words. We have to do it together, though. Let's raise that 2 million. Let's keep listening to amazing Doots along the way.
Fantastic.
Okay, I have to mention something here. So,
Mentioning something.
One of the things that we're doing here, I should mention, if we look at our stats here real fast, this is basically like the end of the any % run. We're going to be doing Malekith, Gideon Ofnir, Horalu, Radabeast all in a row, because basically the end of the game, it's a boss rush a little bit, right? One thing I will mention is that I am playing on the pre-DLC patch release, because I am using an Ash of War called Glintblade Phalanx, and it was nerfed. It was nerfed for the DLC, so I gotta use that for this, because otherwise this fight gets really scary. So.
Now, while Dr. Doot is going through getting their buff ready, the big thing about this fight is this is one of the scarier fights in this entire run. Malekith is a particularly easy boss to get messed up on due to the fact that Malekith works very differently, and if he starts slow walking at the beginning of the battle, this can become a very different fight very quickly and change into something a lot more diabolical, and it's easy to get killed on. Especially with the low health that we're seeing here, it could be an instant death. But yeah, phase 2 is also going to depend on how phase 1 goes, so we're just going to give concentration here, let Dr. Doot take this on and see where this goes, because this is probably the hardest fight of this entire run. I remember this was one I suffered with, PT. What about you?
This was a rough one because if you didn't do the side quests especially, you didn't have the freeness to know what the moveset was you're dealing with. I am very much in the camp of I think phase 1 is easier to deal with than phase 2, and a lot of people disagree with that staunchly. But I also am someone that I can tolerate being beat up a little bit if I could.
You can tolerate that, but you can't tolerate the Doots.
Hold on, we're on phase 2. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. All right, so now we're on phase 2 where we get a very big, angry, swirly boy. He likes to dance around. He likes to be very, very maneuverable now that he doesn't have on his big, angry cape. But anyway, this nerd got dooted on, so get him out.
Dooted. And there we go. Man, that made that look easy, and then there's me taking like 5 hours, like, help!
Right. Calling up summons, bringing in your homies. Hey, this man keeps stabbing me with this really big sword. I need assistance. And Dr. Doot's just like, dude.
Let me just go get my Starforged greatsword, please.
Yes. So now we're off to the races because, as Dr. Doot just said, we're going to see everything back to back because in true Soulsborne fashion, we're going to have the gauntlet. So now we're going to head to, I believe we're going to God.
We're going to Gideon Ofnir.
Thank you, it's Gideon. Oh yeah, Gideon, that nerd. I forget about him.
Or as I like to call him, Spammy McMagic Dark Souls 3 guy.
Don't nobody care about him. Literally, like the strategy for most of it, if he has enough like breaking poise and whatnot, you just beat him up. But that's just me because I think Gideon was a nerd from the get-go.
My strategy is walk up to him, do not let him finish that sentence. I don't care what you say, and slap him with your sword.
Slap him a lot.
But no, oh my goodness. Yeah, no, so one of the hardest bosses right here is done, and we do have a couple more bosses coming up. We got Godfrey and Horalu, we got Radagon and Elden Beast, and then of course Melania will be our last boss. But so far making some great progress, and yeah, that's I believe 4 bosses down so far, hitless.
I did actually forget to mention one thing. So with the Aerophone, this is what's called a monophonic instrument. Unlike a piano, which is a polyphonic instrument where you can play multiple keys at the same time, saxophone you can only play one note at a time. And because... Whoa!
Okay, so someone in the audience wanted us to know that we are $250,000 away from 2 mil, if you want that bonus.
Thank you for doing my job.
One of the things that I have to deal with and contend with is the fact that I can't run and turn the camera at the same time. So I do actually have a couple of toggles that I play to basically hold down these the run button or to hold down L1, that sort of thing. So that's kind of what I have to deal with.
Yep, so yeah, basically like, do you want to run or do you want to attack? Good luck, and hope you know which one to do.
So with all that said, this fight's going to be relatively fast because Gideon can be easily bullied. I think this is a great time to slap down some donations, maybe.
Agreed.
Alrighty, here's $250 from E to the P that said, Doot Doot. This is stunning to watch. $50 from P-Seg. Doot? Doot. 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 Never again. Here's $10 from B&B that says, how does he Doot that? Incredible! I love watching chat just pop off with Doots.
See,
Wow.
Nice.
you thought I was playing when I said Gideon's a nerd. Actually a nerd, just yapping hours here. You can go ahead and read some more donations because we're going to go ahead and just run up to the next person who needs to be murdered.
Yup, time to go get Godfrey and Hora.
Gonna do down these fools. Here's $100 from Beetleguard that says, I can't believe another GDQ's nearly come and gone. It's been a great week. Good luck, Dr. Doot. Here's $25 from Brohands that said, so hyped for the Crazy Taxi game. It's one I absolutely loved, but I haven't played since my childhood. Also, GLHF to Dr. Doot. What an absolute mad lad. Let's get to above that $2 million mark tonight. If we do get above that $2 million, we will unlock the bonus game, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. You are totally looking forward to it, right, audience? We want to raise that $2 million to help support the amazing cause that is PCF, and together we can do it. Now is the time to get in your donations. Literally just say do it and the job is done, please.
All right, so one of my favorite things about the boss that's coming up, for those of you who have not played Elden Ring or haven't been watching runs of it, is the fact that this is one of the few bosses in the FromSoft franchise that actually gets so angry he decides that he has to bare hand things. So if you hear me refer to him as Diet Heihachi, that's why. I'm just throwing it out there so people are aware.
You know,
it doesn't seem like I'm being weird.
Diet Heihachi is a statement, man.
I mean, he is trying to grapple you. You gotta just make sure that that man doesn't touch you.
I'd say he has an axe to grind, but he threw the axe out in the first act.
Correct.
So,
that is an accurate assessment.
you know, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, this boss gave me trouble for hours. I remember the first time I did this, I was like, I don't see how this is possible.
So I feel like this is the first boss that really forces you to get into the do you remember how to jump check? Because this is the first game, I shouldn't say the first game, technically the second game that introduces jumping that isn't attached to an absolutely absurd scheme whatsoever. And he's gonna have a lot of attacks like you saw there with the stomp and the spikes that you can just jump over it to get away from it. Now naturally we're gonna do our dodge rolls from Dark Souls that we low.
It's okay. Occupational hazard.
So you remember how I said this was your check on so you remember you can jump? There it is, right there.
But dude, but that's okay. This stuff happens. While that's going on, let's get a couple more donations and we can go from there.
Absolutely. Here's $25 from Gigi Jakins that said, Doc, you are such an inspiration to us all. Thank you for being a shining light in the Souls community and bring the Doots today. We have a $600 donation from Story14. Thank you for that generosity. They said, sad that GDQ is almost done, but happy with how much we've been able to raise as a community. My wife and I watch every year, and after losing my mom to cancer a few years back, PCF means a lot to me. 2 million hype! Dude.
And there we go. We're going to set up some buffs here. Make sure we get ready for this fight one more time. Go from there. But why don't we get a couple more donations while we set back up buffs and go from there?
Absolutely. Here's $50 from Anonymous that said, El Doot Ring, Shadoots of the Doot Tree. It worked. $75 here from Redrill that said, as a FromSoft liker and a longtime saxophonist, I am incredibly pleased by this. Doot! Thank you for all you do for PCF and those affected by cancer. $50 here from Anonymous that said, let us use the tri-rod to duplicate some donations and meet that Echoes of Wisdom and send.
Oh no. A little bit of an early roll on that one, but that's okay because Godfrey also has a little bit of trickiness to him because, like I said, you have the jump check, and then he's also, Elden Ring introduces a lot of bosses that they have a lot of delayed attacks, and they can mix those in with delayed attacks and quick attacks. So you have to really, really, really pay attention to those tells and see, hey, which attack is coming, because some of them also have the exact same tell to boot. So you're always in a very, very peculiar situation in that setup.
The big thing about Horaloo too is Horaloo also requires you to take a look at specific animations to figure out out when certain things are coming down. In previous Souls games, you could roll in time with tempo, but with this, there's certain attacks where he'll bring his foot down and stomp the ground, and you have to know exactly when his hand is coming down at a specific point. Otherwise, you are going to get slaughtered if you don't jump exactly in time with that. It was something that I didn't learn for many playthroughs until I really took a look into the actual animations of the game, and there's a lot of stuff like that within these games, especially Elden Ring.
You got this, dude. We got to get this nerd out of here.
There we go. Everyone's sending you that Spirit Bomb energy. Let's go. But for now, yeah, I'd say one of the hardest things, though, when you're doing an alternative controller, you really got to be aware of one of your stamina, and that's one of the big things. And I know Dr. Doot mentioned before how this device in particular requires you to constantly be blowing into the aerophone to do actions for any button press you do. One of the big importances of this is the fact that if you're playing a game like Sekiro, where an enemy is constantly coming at you over and over and over, you can be holding your breath for up to a minute easily, and that is exhausting. And there we go, first phase complete.
Phase 2, guaranteed he'll come up and try and grab you. And hit that man right in the groin, hit him right in his dome, get dooted.
Dooted. Let's go. And a fantastic roundup with Horlu there. We're on to Radagon and the Elden Beast. And then from there, we'll take a little break and then into Melania. So we got many, many awesome bosses coming up. And frankly, this next one is one of my favorites. Absolutely love the Radagon and Elden Beast fight, which I know is a controversial take.
Yeah, that's a hot take. That's a spicy take.
I think it's so pretty. I love that boss.
Oh, now, don't get me wrong. From an aesthetic standpoint, a lot of the things in Elden Ring, generally speaking, stunning, beautiful, 10 out of 10. FromSoft, please use more color in your stuff. Love that for you. That doesn't mean that I enjoy this in any way, shape, or form. Not even a little bit.
Do you like riding Torrent during the fight?
I do. It's been a nice improvement, even though I killed that man many times before we could do that. And I'd already had my platinum trophy, so I was just kind of posted.
Now, these fists that Dr. Doot has been using the entire playthrough are fantastic for breaking bosses' poise in the game, which is essentially how easily they stagger or how much damage they take before they stagger. And it's one of the reasons why Dr. Doot has been using these, is because these have the ability to break a lot of enemies and bosses, usually in 2 to 3 hits, if you can get off your charged attack. This has been very helpful for most of the bosses within this boss showcase that we've been showing you, with the exception of Rykard, where we use the Serpent's Great Spear. And
I think we're gonna try and go for a little bit of a skip here. We did skip it. Get him out of here. So for those of you who've never seen it before, I'm pretty sure you have. Once you get to about that 1/3, maybe 1/2 barrier, there's gonna be a moment where Radahn will get to slam the ground a bunch and have a bunch of AoE damage, and we just bypass that. But now the ultimate test, do we bypass the stars?
Yep. This was always the hard part of this fight for me, was those flames, because those flames cause players a lot of anxiety because they can hit you out of nowhere.
Get him out of here.
Dooted.
Consider this dude dooted.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen you go that quick on this boss. That was impressive.
Listen, sometimes you gotta let spite guide you.
Yeah, right. The amount of times I've died to this boss, it's outrageous. All that's left is Melania.
I think then, and while you're setting up,
Yeah.
is Zen, if you could give us some more heckin' dang donations, that'd be great.
Some more heckin' Dootin' donations. You got it. We got $180 from Lunatic Turtle that said, Doot Doot, the random high notes when drinking potions are killing me. $20 from Hylian Korok that said Dr. Doot doing his duty and slaying all these bosses with the power of music. We have $10 from Espiza that said, Demigod Dooted.
Please, when you go back, have that as the template thing, and it needs to go on your stream if it's not there already.
Now, one thing I will say before going in, Melania, of course, is one of these bosses that is a wall for players. In this fight, every movement is crucial. There's no room for mistakes. There's no room for getting greedy, because if you make a mistake here, you die instantly. There is no coming back from that. So
Yeah, and this fight in particular, one of the things, this was actually a fight that I had to learn. We had to workshop a script, and this is actually the beauty of Team Hitless. We mentioned Team Hitless earlier. Amazing community. Collaborated for the first time with GDQ earlier on this year. Amazing event. If you are interested in learning how to hitless one of these games, go to the Team Hitless Discord. People will help you. The reason that what you're about to see was not something that I came up completely by myself. It was with a collaboration with a bunch of people figuring out exactly how to do this. And it's just an amazing community full of awesome people, all helping each other out, coming up with ideas, that sort of thing. So I can't thank the Team Hitless enough for, everything with regards to this run. So shall we fight Malenia?
We shall.
Let's do it.
Poise Breaker. That's always been one of my favorite details about Malenia is that even though she was such a massive wall, she has the poise of a wet paper towel, and it's fantastic.
Yep. Just go in with Giza's pizza cutter and just...
Solid.
Yeah, and also, the other thing too is if you're enjoying this, be sure to take a look at Dr. Doot's channel while you have the chance. They're doing a Dark Souls 3 hitless run right now.
So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge how he did a charge R2, which let that first move just completely go over him. So phase 1's out.
Yep. It's that easy, folks. It's that easy. Takes about 10 seconds for the first phase. And we're going to go back here.
Beautiful Blossom.
I messed it up.
Oh, no.
It's over. Let's try that again. I played
Wait,
it wrong.
exit. We won't count it. We won't want it. We won't count it.
There was no hit.
All right, it doesn't count.
No.
It doesn't count. No one saw that.
No one saw that. None of you saw that, right?
That was fake.
No one saw that, right?
That was fake.
Okay. Let's try that again. I'm going to load up the save state again.
Nobody saw that.
This is live theater.
While we're getting set up again, can we get some more donations out?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to remind you all that we do have the milestone incentive right now to unlock the final bonus game of the marathon, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. We need to reach 2 million Dootlers. No, never mind. $2 million to get that bonus game. While you're at it, you can also check out our glitch exhibition incentive for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and effectively double dip your donation with that. We need 350,000 for that exhibition, but you could also triple dip if you want. Realistically speaking, you're also being entered for prizes with your donation. Quadruple dip at that, because you can assign some of your donation to an incentive and one of our 3 bid wars that we have open right now. So much flexibility as you help us raise money for the Prevent Cancer Foundation and their amazing cause of prevention and early detection for cancer. We ready to Doot Malenia?
Elden Ring just started acting real funny, so I'm restarting the game
Fair
real
enough.
quick. So if you want to read more donations, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely. I was actually just informed from part of our back-end team here, there has been 91 separate donations since this run has started that mentioned the word Doot.
Oh, wonderful.
Not to mention the absolutely countless chat messages that are still going with every single Doot that has come through. Thank you all so much for these donations thus far. Here's $10 from Anonymous that said, had to donate again due to this amazing run. Let's go for 2 million. We can Doot it.
Oh, my God.
That just needs to be the new catchphrase. We can Doot it.
Please don't give them ideas.
Listen, I'm here for it.
I'm not.
Oh.
Let's try this again.
We're going to try it again. We're going to nice little clean phase fun again, and then we're going to see phase 2, and then we'll be finished.
Yeah, that'll be the end of the run.
That's sad.
Just remember, chat, you didn't see anything. First try never happened. This is the first try.
That was his first try.
Yeah. I still say one of the best designs in the entire game.
Yes.
And she's out of here.
I think she's got one more. She's got a few more hits.
There we go. Into phase 2 we go.
All right.
Oh!
Oh, no! It was right on the edge, wasn't it?
Yep. I gotta take 4 steps back. That's the trick. You gotta take 4 steps back every single time.
So that actually is a good time to talk about how a lot of this stuff that we've been seeing here too, kind of like we mentioned with the different patch that we're on, all of this has been heavily scripted as well. Because it's a matter of not just knowing how to dodge, knowing what to do in your fights. It's also a case of knowing your distances and knowing what moves will prompt where, because Elden Ring especially has a lot of bosses in it where if you are so far away, they have a really big repertoire of distance closers. If you're too close away, they have a really big repertoire of things that can punish you, and then also have monster-sized hitboxes. Anyone out in chat that knows about Soulsborne games will give you a 20-minute diatribe about Elden hitboxes because they're a whole thing. They're an entire thing. So this is something that's especially challenging because you look at the fact that you not just have to deal with all the things that you know Millennia is going to give to you, but then you also need to know where you're at and how you're doing it to make sure you can actively force a next type of move, because you don't want it to be a case of if you're out of position or out of sync in any way, now all of a sudden you've got waterfall dance flying at you. Now all of a sudden in her second phase, she's sending all those copies at you. These are things that we truly just do not have time for. You don't have time for any of those.
And like,
Oh no.
Thanks, folks.
It's okay.
it's okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's get some hype in here for Doot.
Let's
Hype in here for
go.
some Doots.
We love a GDQ crowd. Love it, love it, love it. And just like you were saying, though, you know, that's one of the big things, as well as just positioning, movement, where you are on the stage. It also comes down to when you're using these alternative controls, that now becomes a factor by 10.
Yeah.
Because you're having to remember the positioning of your hand. You're having to remember how far a button is compared to how far it is on a regular controller. And now all those factors change, and it becomes a lot more difficult. Like I said before, you are writing the book on how these things need to be done and discovering them yourselves without anyone else's playbook. And the nice thing about the alternative controller community is you have a lot of people who run a lot of these controllers working together to figure out strategies when new controllers enter the forefront. And Dr.
What? What? Were we summoned to Doot?
We were summoned to Doot. That is the Dooting bell.
I see that now. There we go. All right, so we're back in our flow. We got our cadence back all over again. God, her poise being so bad is amazing. Can we get some love for Doot? Phase 1, nice and clean. Again, just abusing that poise.
And
absolutely non-existent. We should have maybe 2 more hits here.
1.
Oh, and she's out
there
of
it
here.
is.
She's out of here. I believe that's time.
Yep.
Time.
That's time.
That's time.
And yeah, there's a hitless Millennia for you.
There you go.
Let's give it up for Dr. Doot. Doot it on him.
Right, get completely dooted on with Elden Ring. Excellent showcase, excellent energy. Thank you, chat, for the love. The standing ovations, too. You love to see it. Absolutely 10 out of 10 energy. We got some love Doots in the chat. We got love Doots in the audience. I think that was absolutely phenomenal, and I envy your ability to do that because I still just want to focus on doing hitless runs outright with a controller. I lovingly call mine nails % because I lose all of mine because my nails hit the buttons above it.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you all so much for having me here. So if you want to see more Doots in the future, twitch.tv/DrDootPhD. I'm, like Thor said earlier, I'm working on Dark Souls 3 90% no hit right now. And it is really hard. So, but yeah, throw it to you guys.
Okay.
Hi there, Thormungandr on twitch.tv. And also just want to give a little shout out to the Twitch Black Unity Guild on Twitch, helping to bring marginalized creators to the forefront and bringing creators into the space, having agency. But if you want to see alternative controller challenge runs like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, and much more on steering wheels and lots of other stuff, come join us.
And then I am PT. I am actually the event organizer for our upcoming event, Back to Black, coming out in February, the 6th to the 9th. We're going to be raising money for Race Forward, but right now we want to put our focus on PCRF, or not PCRF, PCF. I put the wrong acronym. Special shout outs to everybody that donated to this run as well. As somebody who's lost 3 family members to cancer, I lost one last January, one a couple years ago, and then even all the way back many years ago, all to lung cancer, brain cancer, and many others. The work that they do is absolutely outstanding, A+. The research they're doing is absolutely necessary. You can find me as twitch.tv/pleasantlytwisted. Come over. We have Elden Ring and we have Dark Souls. And that's it for me, I think.
Cool. Thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed.